Julia downgrades to tropical storm after making landfall in Nicaragua. Currently, the storm has maximum sustained winds of up to 110 km per hour. Cuba received on Sunday the first shipment of humanitarian aid from Venezuela for the western provinces affected by Hurricane Ian. In Europe, gas imports from the United States go in volume and price. In September, 70% of Washington's exports went to the bloc. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Julia downgraded to a tropical storm after hitting Nicaragua's Central Caribbean coast on Sunday and lashing Colombia's San Andres and Providencial Islands. Julia first hit as Category 1 hurricane with maximum sustained winds of 140 km per hour, though its winds had dipped to 95 km per hour as it pushed across Nicaragua with heavy rains. The country's disaster response system reported Julia was centered about 35 km northeast of Managua, the capital, and was moving west at 26 km per hour. The storm is forecast to sweep across Nicaragua and then emerge over the Pacific and border on the coast of El Salvador and Guatemala, a region already saturated by weeks of heavy rains. Nicaragua's vice president pointed out that 9,500 people were evacuated as a protective measure, and most of them have already returned to their communities.
We have a total of 9,500 people in our community who have been evacuated. Most of them have already returned to their communities, to their homes. They have been sheltered in relatives' homes or in the shelters that have been set up. However, as the phenomenon moves on, families prefer to return, and as long as it is safe, they prefer to return to their communities.
Rosario Murillo also said the government was in contact with local authorities to help in the recovery efforts.
Here, we are all working in coordination, in communication with all those places where we still have communication. Because yes, as a consequence of the line and fiber link failures, and then also the fact that for protection and security reasons the power was cut. For example, at the Corn Island plant, we have lost communication there as well. We are in touch through satellite cell phones, with the mayor's offices, the political secretaries, and leaders who are addressing this situation, and thanks God, we are recovering.
In Colombia, Hurricane Julia left houses on roof freeze down and flooding in different sectors. The General Director of the National Unit for Disaster Risk Management, Javier Pava Sanchez, reported that the damages in San Andres were minor and that emergency response efforts continue. The official also pointed out that so far there are officially 2 people injured, 2 houses destroyed, and 101 damaged, as well as fallen trees and other affectations in the terrain. He added that the warning alert condition is maintained until the storm's influence has passed. In Venezuela, the National Risk Management System is deployed in Las Tejerias, Aragua State, after heavy rain since Saturday night. Vice Minister for Risk Management and Civil Protection, Carlos Perez Ampueda, reported on his Twitter account that since Saturday night, the intense and prolonged rains caused the overflowing of Los Patos Creek that borders Las Tejerias, Santos Michelena municipality. Likewise, Perez Ampueda added that civil protection officials are deployed in the region attending the contingency due to the effects of the tropical wave affecting Venezuela. The official also reported that fallen trees and debris were recorded in several areas of the state. He added that the number of people dead and missing is unknown, as well as the amount of material damages. In this context, and in view of the emergency sparked by the heavy rains, the Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro stated on Twitter, "In view of the difficult and painful situation caused by the heavy rains in Las Tejerias, I order Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, the Social Cabinet, and all the security agencies to make the fullest deployment for the comprehensive care of the people. They are not alone." This Sunday, Cuba received the first shipments of humanitarian aid from Venezuela after the impact of Hurricane Ian. As part of solidarity aid for the western provinces affected by Hurricane Ian, 2 ships with a donation of 400,000 bags of food. The cargo also includes 52 transformers, 22,000 square meters of aluminum roof tiles, and 4.8 tons of cable for networks. Venezuelan Ambassador to Cuba, Dan Chavez, together with Betsy Diaz, Cuba's Minister of Domestic Trade, welcomed the 2 ships at the port of Mariel, 45 kilometers from the Cuban capital. The action represents an act of solidarity and brotherhood between the countries of Latin America and the Caribbean.
We are not giving what we have left over, but we are truly sharing the little or much we have, depending on the circumstances we are living. A true brotherhood, true solidarity, which, for us, comrades, began to consolidate with great strength under the leadership of those 2 giants that are and will always be Fidel Castro and Hugo Chavez.
Betsy Diaz, Minister of Domestic Trade, thanked the Venezuelan government for its generous and disinterested contribution, to which another Nicaragua cargo vessel will be added in the next few days to repair the damage caused by Hurricane Ian.
These 2 ships that arrived with a donation of 400,000 bags of food, electrical material and roofs are the prelude for further shipments that we will receive in the coming weeks, as announced by the ambassador, and which will be of incalculable value for repairing in less time the damage caused and returning the victims to normality. These 2 ships that arrived with a donation.
Let's take a short break, but first, remember you can now follow us on TikTok at the account at teleSUR English, in which you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Is coming up. Stay with us. Starting Sunday, Guatemala hosts the 3rd continental meeting of women of Abya Yala, a meeting that addresses the current challenges of indigenous women. The meeting, which is being held in Guatemala City, will take place until Wednesday, October 12th. Representatives of indigenous women from different nationalities of the continent are participating in the event. During these 3 days of exchange, issues affecting indigenous peoples, such as the devastation of territories, the effects of the climatic crisis, and criminalization of land defenders by the state and private companies, will be addressed. Likewise, it will also discuss those issues affecting women's lives, including the impact of racism and patriarchal violence. This meeting seeks to generate collective strategies of unity to address the impacts of structural violence in the countries of the continent. In Brazil, presidential candidate Luiz Inácio da Silva held a new mass rally in Belo Horizonte in the framework of the campaign for the runoff election to be held this October 30th. Together with his running mate Geraldo Alckmin and the coalition leaders, Lula toured the city to present his arguments before a crowd of supporters. The state of Minas Gerais is of great importance for the strategy of both candidates. Lula, who is leading in the polls, visited the region 5 times during the campaign for the first round of the elections. At the same time as the mass rally, the former president also rejected on Twitter the new cuts in education announced by his opponent and current president Jair Bolsonaro. In September, the European Union recorded an increase in imports of liquefied natural gas from the United States as a result of the attack responsible for hindering the Nord Stream and Nord Stream 2 gas pipelines. Fuel prices reached record highs in the European bloc. The situation mainly benefited the U.S., which traded the product at a price 7 times higher than that offered to its domestic consumers. In September, 87 shipments of liquefied natural gas left the U.S. for international markets, 70% of which went to Europe, while it reduced the percentage allocated to other regions such as Asia and Latin America. Russian government deployed a group of divers who will be in charge of examining the infrastructure of Crimean Bridge from the sea after the explosion on Saturday. Russian Deputy Prime Minister Marat Yusnulin reported that the Russian divers have been working on the task since early this morning, and first results of this underwater analysis are expected to be published on Sunday. The aim is to establish the extent of the damage caused by the explosion to the infrastructure of the bridge inaugurated in 2018 and built at the initiative of Russian President Vladimir Putin. A cargo truck exploded in the early hours of Saturday morning on Crimean Bridge, which connects the Crimean Peninsula with mainland Russia, killing at least 3 people. Austrian President Alexander van der Bellen has been re-elected, projections showed on Sunday, after campaigning on promises of stability as the Alpine country struggles with an energy crisis and inflation. The projections show the incumbent head of state won 54.6% of the votes, with 6 other candidates, all men, lagging far behind. The final official results are not expected until Monday. Campaigning on a slogan of clarity and stability, van der Bellen had been widely tipped to secure a second mandate. Polls ahead of the election suggested the pro-European Liberal would secure more than 50% of the vote, those avoiding a runoff. Some 6.4 million people were eligible to cast their ballots from the country's total population of 9 million.
I think it is important to make your voice known because there are quite a few candidates this year opposing the incumbent. And you really have no excuse to say, my preferred candidate wasn't there. And that's what I think, that it is all the more important to say, I'm going to vote.
On Saturday, thousands of supporters of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange protested outside the British Parliament, demanding the government to cancel plans to extradite him to the United States.
That the truth comes out. It is not possible that the truth be imprisoned, and that they imprison Julian Assange, who has revealed the monstrosity of imperialist governments in genocidal wars, in wars that have not only gone to kill in a confrontation, but have also killed civilians, and many corruptions behind people's backs. Cuba is a victim of the United States, a victim of its blockade, of its cruelty against the Cuban people, and that is why we also defend Julian Assange, who is a political prisoner, because he tells and wants to tell the truth, and wants to change the destructive course of the world.
Fidel Narváez, former consul of Ecuador in London, said Saturday's demonstration in favor of justice for Julian Assange was a historical one.
What we have today is an unprecedented demonstration in the history of the country. Never before has a human chain surrounded the parliament, which is a symbol of political power of this country, for the most important political prisoner of this generation. What we are asking here is that a person cannot be extradited for revealing the truth. We have criminals who are unpunished, and we have the person who revealed the crimes currently deprived of his freedom, and they want to imprison him for life.
The former consul of Ecuador added that Lenin Moreno's government betrayed Julian Assange and sold Ecuador's honor.
The government of Lenin Moreno gave in to the US pressure. Moreno sold my country's honor and betrayed a political refugee. So it is a betrayal. That is what happened.
More news coming up after a final short break, so don't go away. Welcome back from the south. In Turkey, an explosion was reported on Sunday in a building located in the Kadıköy neighborhood of the Turkish city of Istanbul. According to authorities, the flames spread to the 2 other neighboring buildings, greatly affecting their infrastructure. Authorities also said that a large number of police, firefighters, and emergency teams have been deployed to the scene to deal with the situation. At the moment, no victims have been reported. While in the middle of rescue efforts, a person was taken out of the main building affected, being transferred to a hospital to receive medical attention due to the injuries caused by the fire. The reason for the explosion is still unknown, so investigations are being carried out to clarify the facts. The UN envoy for West Asia of the United Nations expressed concern over the intensification of raids and killing of Palestinians by Israeli military. In an official statement, the UN Special Coordinator for the West Asia Peace Process, Tor Wennesland, denounced the deterioration of security situation in the face of increased night raids and indiscriminate use of force by the Israeli military in Palestine, which have left over 150 Palestinians dead, the highest number of deaths in the territory since 2015. The Norwegian diplomat further noted that this rising wave of violence has fueled a climate of fear, hatred and anger, and stressed the need to immediately reduce tensions in the area. Wennesland urged the Israeli and Palestinian authorities to restore calm and avoid further confrontation, and said he was ready to actively collaborate with the parties to restore peace in the region. Emergency services put out a large fire that broke out at the St. Taurus Mall in the center of the Pakistani capital, Islamabad. The Capital Development Authority confirmed the fire was under control after 2 hours and that everyone in the shopping center was evacuated safely with no casualties reported. The fire broke out at lunchtime with footage showing roaring flames near the food court while it was full with visitors. The capital's Deputy Commissioner, Irfan Nawaz Memon, said the shopping center and nearby residential buildings were being sealed until technical team had reports on the structural capability of the towers after the fire. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif ordered all relevant institutions and authorities to take immediate action.
A man came and told us that a fire had broken out and the situation is getting bad, so we should evacuate a building. When I came out, I saw people were running and it was a panic situation and everyone was coming out.
And it's the first time I'm seeing such kind of emergency and such kind of bus and bustle, what's happening, and every people saying go outside, don't go outside, nothing else to save.
Thousands of Buddhist devotees gather in Myanmar's Shwedagon Pagoda to mark the full moon of the Thading Youth Festival on Sunday, some offering prayers for a country plunged into turmoil by last year's coup. The 3-day festival marks Buddha's descent from heaven and is normally marked by a large fireworks display, with candles and colorful lanterns lighting up streets and homes. Early morning, crowds line up in commercial hub Yangon to pray at the towering, gold-plated Shwedagon Pagoda, Myanmar's most important Buddhist site. Local chronicles say it contains strands of the Buddha's hair. Last year, Myanmar's military junta announced an amnesty for hundreds of protesters detained since the coup. However, the junta has so far not announced any amnesty to mark this year's 3-day festival, which ends on Monday. We have come to the end of this news brief, and you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.